National Director of Aid to the Church in Need in Australia and New Zealand. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Can we just start off by listening to what Bill Maher had to say?
I mean, the fact that this issue has not gotten on people's radar.
Right, no one's talking about it.
It's pretty amazing. If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck. You are in a bubble. And again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Yeah. Thank you. No one will talk about it, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Bernard, he makes such an excellent point that this is largely being ignored by the media, and there are plenty of young people who are happy to go out and demonstrate against Israel and taking part in pro-Palestine demonstrations, yet are silent about what's happening in Nigeria. Why do you think this is?
Look, thanks, Gabriella. Problem one, I think it's being generally ignored because most people don't know about it. But problem two, why is it being ignored by the mainstream news? Look, the mainstream news media cares about what it wants to care about. And we know that two groups get little airtime, Africans and Christians. It's really the precise reason that one of Aid to the Church in Need's core works is around advocacy. For 25 years, we've published what we call the Religious Freedom in the World Report, global overview, 196 countries, 900 pages. It looks at where people can practice their faith, all faiths, and where they face discrimination, oppression, or outright persecution. And at one point, there were 4 of these major global reports on religious freedom. Today, there are just 2. There's the US State Department and our report. And even that tells you something. Ours is unique because it's the only non-governmental report that looks at Christian principles and the on-the-ground realities. But to be honest, it's the value of networks like Sky News, presenters like yourself, bringing this to the fore.
There are reports, one by Nigeria-based human rights NGO International Society for Civil Liberties and the Rule of Law Inter-Society, found that there's an average of more than 30 Christians in Nigeria being killed every single day. More than 7,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria.
That's a lot. 30 Christians killed daily in Nigeria. And one of the things that I'm going to talk about, and one of the things that may not really, feel like we're being sincere about, is also going back to Nigeria. And I'm going to also be addressing the fact that even though you have all those killings in Nigeria, most of those killings happen in the northern part of the country. The reality of Christians living in the south and Christians living in the north are wide opposite. Like, they're parallel. You can't even compare. And again, one of the things that makes me kind of unhappy and makes me feel a little sad is that I don't see that level of support from the Christian southerners to the Christian northerners. And there's just feeling that, the northerners, they're going to be fine. Or they're going to take care of themselves. Or we don't even really rep with northerners. And that's the reality. So while you have a pastor in the north, okay, with his church burnt, and he's sitting down inside the burnt church with the church members, professing their faith, trying as much as they can to still worship God, to honor God, to respect that they're still alive, and they're going to do everything they can to worship and to serve the Lord. In their burnt building, after they've been invaded by these bandits and terrorists. As you have that happening in the north, you know what you have in the southern Nigeria happening? You see the pastor just buying another Rolls Royce. You see the pastor just coming in with another Ferrari. Oh, there's another yacht. There's another jet. There's a new building, a new theater for worship. And then this is our new congregational, edifice that is just being commissioned. And today I just commissioned like in just this year alone, I bought like 2 jets. That is what is happening in the South. And in northern Nigeria, you have people paying the ultimate price for Christianity. Now I know, and I need to put some balance to it. Oh, guy, what are you talking about? Is insurgency. The North is also, the Muslims in the North are also being kidnapped. When they go to blow places, the Muslims in the North are also being kidnapped. The Muslims in the North are also being affected. Yes, I agree. But let me tell you, the target is always primarily first for the Christians. That's what the terrorists go after. Then after that, they move on to the next, which is the state workers, the police, and all that. And when all that doesn't suffice, then they move to the mosques, saying that you're going to accept our own share of extremism. And if you don't accept our own share of extremism, we're going to come for you. That's when they go for the North. But primarily, when all of these things happen, the first casualty in any terrorist plan is always the Christians.
This year, yet Nigeria has pushed back against reports such as those. Its Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying earlier that this year that there's plenty of misinformation and misleading reports regarding the supposed targeted killings of Christians. Can I get your response to that?
Yeah, the government's speaking nonsense and hoping the world doesn't pay attention. Nigeria today is an epicenter of Christian martyrdom. Since the year 2000, more than 60,000 Christians have been murdered by Islamist groups like Boko Haram, heavily armed Fulani militia. Our organisation's 2023 report I mentioned places Nigeria firmly in the red category, meaning it's persecution, it's not just discrimination. You know, what makes Nigeria unique is that Christians are not even a tiny minority. They make up almost half the population, 100 million people, yet they live as if they're second-class citizens, especially in the north. The Nigerian government's failed to take any meaningful action to prevent attacks, and the violence is relentless. In Benue State alone, one diocese recorded 93 villages attacked, 330 farmers killed in just a year. This past June, a couple months ago, another attack in Benue. A gunman raided a town, killed 100 people, forced 4,000 to leave. And it's not just killings, Gabriella. We're speaking of abductions, burned villages, destruction of churches, millions forced into camps where they lack even the basics. And every single day, Nigerian Christians wake up to the fresh news of kidnappings or attacks. It's not sporadic, it's systematic, it's targeted, it's gone on for decades with little accountability.
Absolutely horrific. Can you talk to us about how the Aid to the Church in Need supports the suffering, oppressed and persecuted Christians?
Yeah, sure. Look, for 80 years, the work of ACN has been to keep the faith alive, as we say, in those places where it's under greatest assault through persecution, oppression, poverty. We're not a humanitarian or a development agency. We're what's called a pastoral agency. Our work is to sustain the faith directly. So we build, or in the case of Africa, rebuild churches often, sustain poor nuns, priests, provide them with means of transport. In all, we undertake about 6,000 projects a year. At least a cultural, that some of their moral, ethical and life choices are not so good. We shoot the messenger, and there's no shortage of examples. 2,000 years ago, King Herod put the head of John the Baptist on a plate because he told him he shouldn't commit adultery. 3 weeks ago, someone shot Charlie Kirk in the head because the person didn't want to be told that a person's sex is innate. None of us
Catholic Church, it is real and it is fully understandable.
But Christianity provides a framework and a system to better oneself. Radical secularization preaches intolerance. So, you know, the news will continue to see violence against Christians and Christian churches.
Bernard Dutundji, National Director.
So that's that about that. But this is what I want you guys to watch right now. Very, very important.
If you turn on primetime news.
So this is my boy, Pat Bet-David. If you don't know him, he's the Balutainment founder, and he's well now really into social media. He's going to give you certain perspective. Now, this guy is from Iran. He's a Christian from Iran. So again, you have to put things in perspective here, right?
You're probably going to hear about what's going on with Ukraine.
On Ukraine's
Ukrainian city of Dnipro.
Ukraine has come under heavy bombardment from Russia.
Or what's going on with Gaza.
But in Gaza.
For Gaza.
Gaza.
But you're probably going to hear nothing about the fact that one country has killed, executed more persecutions towards Christians than any other countries around the world combined, and that's Nigeria. Just this year, 7,087 Christians have been killed, beheaded in many instances this year, just for going to church.
Wow. That's massive. That's freaking massive. That's really massive.
Today we're going to talk about the events that are taking place in Nigeria targeted towards Christians. If you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. So watch this. If you're watching this, and we know mainstream media is not going to be talking about this a lot with other people, you want to get more exposure to it, share with other people. Let me tell you why. Since 2009 till today, 125,000 Christians have been killed.
125, that's a lot of number, bro. 125 Christians have been killed in Nigeria since 2009. Now you could say, fine, it was just a summary attack on various things, but we're saying that the average, which is more than any other religion. So you could say, oh, fine, if this thing is happening in the north, and you have majority of those in the north as Muslims, how come we have 125 Christians that have been killed in the north since 2009?
In Nigeria, according to the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law. By the way, when you're looking at the surge, 7,087 just this year in the first 220 days, that's 35 a day. 7,800 abducted, they disappeared, can't find them anymore. 19,100 churches have been destroyed. Imagine you going to church. Imagine on Sunday, you just want to take your kids to church. All you want to do is go pray, maybe, sing a little bit, worship music, listen to the pastor, the preacher, what they have to say, the priest. 19,100 churches have been destroyed. By the way, 10,000 schools have been destroyed that are teaching Christian theology to kids, certain values that they have. And in Nigeria, specific areas, they're being targeted. Now, who is doing the targeting to these Christian communities, these Catholic churches? Many of these guys are jihadists, one of the leaders being Boko Haram since 2009, later splintering into ISIS West Africa province, the ISWAP and Ansaru, conducting mass killing, forcing conversions, and abductions. And you're seeing this in the news. I'm going to put a picture here for you to see on what's going on. This is what they look like. They're just going around targeting Christians, burning homes, seizing land, destroying harvest, sexual violence. And the way they're going about doing it is they're going at night when you're asleep, night assaults on villages, church seizures and burnings, mass kidnapping, land grab, creating no-go zones for Christian natives. And families are sitting there saying, what do I do? I just want to go to church. I can't.
When this thing started, it was more like a child's play in 2009. I remembered that. They said, oh, these guys were just, Yusuf was the name of the leader then. Oh, they were just, a group of young guys who opposed imperialism and who aided the way education is being run, that it was just more of them bringing the Western values into the northern side of the country. That was their whole whatever. Then they formed into a pressure group. Then what happens? The politicians started patronizing them. When they need votes, they go to Boko Haram and say, you know what, help us organize this and that. Then what happened? Boko Haram became very, very powerful because now they have someone in government that they help put there. Then they became so powerful. Then once they become so powerful, they started getting arms and all of that. The governor wanted to actually find a final solution to that. So they arrested the head of the Boko Haram guy, which his name was actually Yusuf. Between them arresting the guy, okay, and trying to, bring him to justice, between the police, the court, and this Boko Haram guy, the guy just was unalived all of a sudden in a day. unalived, and there was no explanation given to what really happened. So the word out there was that the first leader of Boko Haram, who we assume was not a terrorist, okay, was just more like a pressure group guy, was assassinated by the powers of the day. And as a result of that, remember I told you they were becoming powerful. They had this pressure group. Then you started having people attack police stations because they believed that the police station was actually the one that killed the first Boko Haram leader. So they would go to police stations, start killing them. And then before you know it, some of them started saying that, you know what? We need to be more radical. We need to make a statement. Then the first thing, then you had the first bombing, which was the, I think it was the Teachers Union building in Abuja. Then you had the first bombing. Before you know it, you started having splinter groups. Before you know it, you started having foreign monies coming to Boko Haram. And now it's become a mess. Now, when that happened, some of them believed that they should just be attacking police offices and churches and not mosque. Some other believes that, you know what, we attack anybody. We want to be known as the most deadly terrorist. And then from that, you had different individuals come in. There were times you had factions. There were times you would hear that, oh, they've killed the head of the Boko Haram, just for him to surface in another video. So just giving you the background to how we got here. I have no doubt in my mind that you have this terrorist group being used by politicians, being used by foreign interests, being used by various terrorist groups around the world. That Boko Haram became a world-known terrorist group all over the world and has been spoken about by various even presidents of the United States of America.
It's our service with everything that's going on. I mean, you know, we get the challenge with our faith a lot of times. How strong is our faith? Is our faith as strong as this guy? They're still in church. They're still there praying. They're still singing to worship music, even though all this stuff's going on. You hear guys talking about, they killed my family. They killed my parents. They burned my house down. They burned my relative's house down. They burned my kid's house down. All I have left is this shirt I'm wearing. Here's what the fellow is talking about. I want you to watch these two clips. One of them is them still going to church on a Sunday, and one of them talking about what happened to him and his family.
My family members, they died in this house. 11. And some died in the other stores. Here and up, my house is up there. That place also is burned. And the store where I pack my goods, I store my goods everywhere, has burned. They burned my clothes, they burned everything, they burned our food. All my family members, what we take with our food.
I think also one of the churches that was burnt down, there's been testimonies from various Christians where they'll tell you that I didn't even know what would happen. They come in, they do things that are crazy, things that I can't even say on live to the families. And these are Islamist extremist group. I'm just surprised how the government of Nigeria will come out with a bold face and say, no, Christians are not being persecuted. Oh, no, they are not being persecuted. It's propaganda. I mean, the numbers are there. 125 Christians killed from 2009. While, you know, the pastors in the South, they're still going on their yachts, their private jets, their brand new cars, their Rolls Royce. That's the reality of what we have in Nigeria today.
You know, the criticism that a lot of mainstream media gets is, what's the purpose of me showing this? It's just Christians. I mean, it's just Christians, but we have to show anything else to raise the temperature and make sure people are angry and go out there protesting. Free Palestine, that's what we need. We need rage. Christians, give me a break. You know, if you're going to go out there and kill 49 Christians in Democratic Republic of Congo that were killed by machetes, Not a big story, right? We shouldn't share this if we're mainstream media. Some victims are beheaded and burned, but I mean, we don't need to really talk about it a lot because it's just Christians. We need to really get into the story and then hear stories that's going on in Canada. You got Justin Trudeau, 112 churches burned in Canada, Catholic churches, and Justin Trudeau, former prime minister, gets up there and says, well, I understand their rage. I mean, you have to watch this to believe what the former leader of Canada had to say about all the church burnings that was going on in Canada. Here's Justin Trudeau for you.
Acts of vandalism and arson are being seen across the country, including against Catholic churches. One of my reflections is I understand the anger that's out there against institutions like the Catholic Church. It is real and it is fully understood.
You understand the outrage. Individuals that don't even know what happened during those periods. They come out to say, oh, maybe this and that happened, and the story about it and all of that. This is becoming a daily occurrence, not daily, but I mean, a frequent occurrence in Canada where you just have churches being burnt. What is really happening now? At times, even if you go to Quebec in Canada, you just see some of these groups just come in and they say they want to actually do their prayers, the Muslim prayers, in the cathedral. Or they say in front of the church. What would not be accepted to be done in mosques and other places? This is the reality. But when it's Christians, you know, we understand, they are Christians, you know, so, I mean, whatever happens, nobody has given this thing more life than a lot of the, you know, even hosts outside of Nigeria. And it's a problem. You have the biggest, one of the most powerful Christians ministers in the world. You have most of them in Nigeria. But he took Bill Maher. Bill Maher is someone that doesn't even believe in God, I believe. He doesn't even really care. He's not a Christian. He doesn't care about anything. He was the one that mentioned it. And he just mentioned this thing in passing. He wasn't really even going to say, I'm going to do a segment about the killings of Christians in Nigeria. No, he was trying to just draw the false equivalence. There are millions of Muslims dying in other countries, in Yemen. You know, you have the war in Sudan and all of those. Nobody is even really giving it attention. Everybody just wants to talk about Israel is bad. And this is the reality, okay?
Understandable.
And by the way, I got a list of other places to read. The only reason I'm showing you Justin Trudeau is because it's not just happening in Africa or Syria and all the, it's happening in the West as well. We can tell you some of the stuff that's going on in Arizona that happened recently. This is taking place, and so a lot of Christians are saying, hey, what do we do about this? Do we just sit around and not do anything? What can we do about this? Some are saying, hey, well, that's why we need a crusade. There's a spiritual warfare going on. That's what we need right now. We need to get louder. Some are saying mainstream media should talk about it. Well, if they're not, we should talk about it. We will. Some are saying, well, maybe Christians are not understanding the whole concept of tolerance. We should be tolerant. We should be tolerant. Well, if there's an example of a guy that wasn't tolerant, it was Jesus. This concept of being tolerant towards who? Towards everybody, allowing all this stuff to happen? I used to pray for 4 things for many years. 20 years I was praying for courage, wisdom, tolerance, understanding. I told my kids, we're not praying for tolerance anymore. If someone's pushing the envelope, make some noise, do something about it, right? We're seeing all this stuff that's happening over here. God forbid if something happens to, Muslim or a different denomination or Jews, everybody wants to talk about it. Oh my God, you won't believe what happened. How about Christians? Do they have a valid argument here that people are making? I think they do. But there's maybe not a business model in trying to help Christians out. Maybe there isn't. Maybe Christians who are sitting around right now, and we're seeing everybody wearing a Ukraine pin, which, by the way, to people that believe in that, I support the fact that you do. How many of you guys are wearing a Nigeria pin right now with the Christians over there that are going through what's going on to them? Who's wearing that? When's the last time you wore that? Are you really sporting it? Maybe you're a Christian yourself. Are you? I don't know. All I'm saying is, it's unfortunate that mainstream media that's not talking about these types of stories. We definitely will. When you're sitting out looking at the countries with the most Christians in it, At the top is US, then you have Brazil, then Mexico, then Nigeria is at the 4th place with most Christians. You think some people like them being there? Maybe not. We're seeing what's going on with UK. We're seeing what's going on with immigration. We're seeing what's going on with, you should just let anybody into your country. Who cares if you lose your national value? Who cares if people are in your country who hate you? It's okay. That's part of freedom of speech. Really? Yeah, it's okay. You know, today I was looking at 2 things. You know what countries Bibles are illegal to buy and sell? Go try buying a Bible in Iran. See what happens to you. By the way, go try buying a Bible in Iran in Farsi. You won't find it.
It's not propaganda. This guy is actually from Iran. The guy speaking is from Iran. It's from the Pashtun group in Iran. He's a Christian, yeah, but he's also from Iran. So he knows what he's talking about. This is not just a propaganda, outlet. It's just trying to make some points.
The people that are Assyrians and Armenians can have Bibles in Iran, but you can't put it in Farsi and distribute it. That's illegal. Go to Saudi Arabia and see if you can sell a Bible in Saudi Arabia in Arabic, because that's a form of, conversion. You're trying to get people converted into Christianity. In America, we're like, it's okay. Sell it on Amazon, Quran, whatever you want to sell. Go sell it. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech. Maybe there's a place for it, but at the same time, those other countries don't want Christians to be growing. And we're like, yeah, but it's their country. They get to create their laws. But in America, it's like, no, we're okay with everything that happens here. Maybe, maybe not. But I believe there needs to be more of a discussion here with this, and more of a topic and more of a debate. And we're not having enough of it right now. There are so many other debates that have 99% of Twitter, X, YouTube, everywhere. How many debates about this topic? Maybe not enough. Maybe we need to get a little bit louder. And maybe if you're watching this right now saying, honestly, I didn't know about that with Saudi Arabia. I didn't know that about Iran. Go ChatGPT it. Go look it up for yourself. Do you think they should be selling Bibles? Why don't they? Why are we allowing everybody? Are we a little bit too tolerant in America? I don't know. It's a good question to ask, and you can answer it for yourself. I don't know where you're going with this. Are you insinuating the fact that we shouldn't be able to do this? More and more mayors with other denominations who hate America are creating policies, and we have certain cities in America that the police department has the language written in Arabic. This is America. What are you talking about? This is America is what we're talking about. No, we should do it. We should do it. It's okay. We should do it. We got folks who work for the government in certain areas of Dearborn and Michigan that are saying, I hope one day you get kicked out of the city and I will celebrate and put a parade together so you can never come back here again, because your type doesn't belong here. Your type, he's an American. What do you mean your type? You hate America, go back to your country. Your type. Ilhan Omar talking all the stuff she's saying about Charlie Kirk.
I have nothing to apologize for. It is a tragedy that Charlie Kirk was killed in that way. I feel for his widow.
Is it tragedy that Charlie Kirk was killed in that way? What do you mean? So he could have been killed, but not just in that way? I mean, this guy, and again, you see, the liberalism of the West is going to be what would eventually, if care is not taken, be its own undoing. You see, you see people where, they move them everywhere. Okay, come as refugees, we're going to help you. This woman came to the United States as a refugee. Now it's known that her family was actually not a real refugee, because she belonged to the family that was oppressing people in Somalia. That is, her family was part of the ruling class. That the man had to leave because the people rose up against her own parents. Now she's in the United States making so many disgusting statements, even about 9/11. The clips are out there. And that's quite unfortunate.
And his children, they will have to live with that for the rest of their lives. But there is no legacy to honor. It was a legacy filled with bigotry, hatred, and white supremacy.
He was not a hero. He was a bigot. A bigot? What are you, lady? Go back to Somalia. You hear her videos talking about to her country that one day my hopes is to go out and create some change because I want to come back to my homeland, which is Somalia. Go back already. Should we sit there and allow these people to create policies who absolutely hate America? I have a very big problem with that. If you run a company, your employees hate your company, would you keep them? Or would you tell them, go find another company you love? I would tell them, go find another company you love. If you're dating somebody who hates you and your family, would you stay with her? Would you stay with them? Would you tolerate them? Why are we doing that in America? I don't know. But it's a fair question that many are asking me. They're connecting me saying, why are people not talking about this? You have a very valid point. We're going to. And hopefully that influences some of you guys talk about this more as well. So if you're watching this, and again, you got some things in here that got your blood pressure a little bit higher, saying, you know what, I'm with them. I'm not okay with this. Share this with as many people as possible and ask them the questions. Do you agree with them? What do you think about what he has to say in this video? And let's see what people have to say about it. But I do think this is something that more of us need to be talking about. If you got value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you're
subscribe to my channel too, and subscribe to his channel. Okay, I think I'm not subscribed. Okay, that's it. So again, that's the reality of what is happening. Just yesterday, you go to the UK, see what's happening in the UK. Anti-Semitic knife attack. Oh, you're saying it's the gun, right? Okay, so they took the guns away, from citizens of the United Kingdom. And then what we have now is a 35-year-old man of Syrian descent, Jihad. I mean, your name is even Jihad. Jihad al-Shami rammed his car into pedestrians and stabbed 2 worshippers. You know what happened? Stabbed 2 worshippers. This happened in the UK just yesterday. Just yesterday. Greater Manchester police shot him dead and arrested 3 others on suspicions of aiding the plot. Forensic evidence indicates 1 death and 1 injury resulted from police gunfire during the response. Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Homeland Security. This Prime Minister, this guy, is a big no-no. He's a big no-no. They need to get rid of him as fast as possible. But then he just came in just a few months ago. And the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, they've taken over. UK is already taking over. And the problem is, I don't have any problem if you want to practice your religion. Let me put that out there. Okay, you want to be a Muslim? Fine. But when you get into a country that has been built on Judeo-Christian values, and you're saying that they have to change the laws because you left wherever you were, and there was a problem there, and because you moved into another country, then you're not saying that you have to change the culture because of you, then that's the problem. Shabana Mahmood, okay, condemned the attack, pledging enhanced security for Jewish community amidst rising anti-Semitism. I don't want to hear about this rising Semitism from people who just a few days ago were honoring those Hamas people by trying to say, oh, we're going to give them what they want. We're going to give them what they want. Oh, they said, no, it's not the Hamas people, it's the Palestinian. But they all voted for Hamas, 80%. They all said they loved whatever happened in October 7th. And again, when you give them that right, or when you give them that ability to, this is what happens. They come into your country, they come in like, oh, we're refugees, or things are not going well for us, accept us, you accept them. They say, oh, we're being marginalized, you give them more. Then after a while, they come up and say, you know what, you're going to change things. Their plan is to dominate the West. That's the ultimate plan. So they're not coming to the West to live in peace. No. And that's why the rules and the laws in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, against all these, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they are Muslim countries. The laws in Dubai and Abu Dhabi against these extremists is really, really strict. You can't go to Dubai and start saying that this thing and start, unaliving people. No, you can't. They won't even allow you. So if Dubai and Abu Dhabi is aware of the danger of extremism, and they're doing that, then how come we in the West were just so careless. You understand? Why is it that we're so careless? I'm telling you. I don't know. That's just my own take here. Why is it that we're so careless? We don't even really care. And they're saying that, you know what? If Europe is not careful, you're going to see some level of extremism. Let me see if I can get that clip. Okay, I got it. Let me move it here so that you can see. I'm not blabbing. When I come here to talk, I know what I'm talking about.
And let me say this in English so you can understand what I'm saying.
I have translation.
No, I know you have translation, but I just want to make sure you get it right. There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance. And
that's it. There'll be a day. There'll be a day when what you've got. This is at least as you can see. This is a Muslim from the United Arab Emirates talking. So this is not me just trying to raise some form of fake stuff. There'll be a day when you see extreme radicalism. There might be a day when you have an Islamic country that used to be a Christian country with nuclear capacity and capabilities. Nuclear weapon, that's what I mean. So again, that's the reality. You might hate it, you might like it, you might not like what I'm saying, but this is the real risk. When Boko Haram started, they didn't start as this extremist group that is looking for Christians to kill, and then later looking for government officials to kill, and now they're just killing everybody, including Muslims. Nigeria used to be a loving country, a peaceful country. There were tensions here and there. There were killings here and there too. I'm not oblivious of the fact, but it wasn't at this level of extremism that we're seeing today. Seriously. And it's crazy.
In the African nation of Nigeria, millions of Christians are persecuted by Islamic terror groups. The Nigerian government is doing very little to stop the attacks. Well, now religious freedom advocates, including one member of the U.S. Congress, are taking action. CBN's Kelly Wright has this look at the crisis.
On this very day, 210 persons were slaughtered in one night, in less than 24 hours.
The video from the Father's Day massacre.
This video is just from 1 month ago. And you can see they're referencing June. So this is 2025. This is not one old news. Okay.
Includes graphic images of people being burned alive, families attacked, and homes destroyed in Yelawata, Nigeria.
That very day, it was raining. So Fulani herdsmen, they invaded the community and claimed so many lives.
Around 12 midnight, we started having calls from Yelawata that the Fulanis have come and they are killing, burning.
Friday night, I was sleeping in my house. See my house there. I come here, they shoot gun. Later, they come, they break this house where my brother is sleeping here with his children. Thereby, they come, they kill people. They were breaking the house. Say, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
These first-hand accounts gathered by Truth Nigeria journalists describe the ongoing atrocities in a terror campaign to eradicate Nigeria's Christians. Judge Saul filmmaker, and missionary, the organizer of Equipping the Persecuted highlighted this documentary as a way to sound the alarm.
We need to fight this thing threefold. One, America as a government needs to get involved with a very little. I'm talking very little of our resources. If we just did the very little bit of push an aggressive foreign policy, throw some sanctions, whatever it takes, I think we can put a significant dent in this and put a stop to this.
U.S. Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey, who has traveled to many dangerous areas in Nigeria, has introduced a resolution in Congress to help stop attacks fueled by religious hatred.
There has been an exponential increase in attacks on Christians and some Muslims, but Christians in particular. Protestants, evangelicals, Catholics, they're firebombing their churches. The Fulani are killing them with absolute impunity. We've called on the government in Abuja and the president several times to do what governments do, law enforcement. Use the military if you have to, but stop this genocide and do it now.
The resolution points to Nigeria's government's apparent open border policy that allows almost free access to the country. Fulani militants and ISIS-linked extremist groups from neighboring countries take advantage of this policy to carry out mass murder, rape, and kidnappings.
We're also calling on President Trump to reissue, which he did in his first term, the designation of country of particular concern. And that then gives the president wide latitude to impose sanctions. It's an excellent bill when it's used properly. It gets the attention of all the policymakers, in this case in Abuja. It says, we're not kidding.
During a White House press briefing, I asked Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt about the crisis in Nigeria.
And do you know if there's any action that the president will take?
I'm not tracking a call between the president and the head of Nigeria. I know the president wholeheartedly condemns the persecution of Christians or, frankly, of people of any faith all over the world, but I don't have any updates for you in terms of sanctions in this part of the world.
Looking beyond any government response, Judge Saul is calling on the church and Christians in America to stand with the persecuted in Nigeria.
They need to pray. They need to be a voice for the voiceless. They need to be a voice for our persecuted brothers and sisters.
Kelly Wright, CBN News.
Well, whatever pressure we can put on the Nigerian government, we need to put it on the Nigerian government. They're the one responsible for the safety of their own citizens.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
to let these armed groups have sort of free reign in the northern part of Nigeria makes no sense. And I don't understand these sort of continual struggles coming out of Nigeria. You need to establish law and order in your own country. You can't have your women, your girls kidnapped. You can't have people murdered in the streets. You can't have these churches burned to the ground.
And again, not just Christians alone, because I know some Muslims also, they're also being, attacked by these people. But again, in whatever location, whatever area, wherever all this happens, the first casualty, the first place is once they see that cross on your building, you're an easy target. You're an easy target. So, and I've also said in the past that, Tinubu's tried in doing a lot of reforms when it comes to the economy. But in terms of security, I think the government has not really pulled his weight. Or it seems like they're confused as to not knowing even what to do with respect to this. So again, I'm just saying, this is not, I'm not trying to say it's only Christians that are affected by all of these things. I'm saying Muslims are also equally affected, but in an huge proportion, you have more Christians that are being impacted, especially they are more like the first place. I did a video like a few days ago where even in Kwara State, people can't go to church. The young man videoed everything and said, see, this is Sunday. This church houses like 1,000 people and there's nobody there. Everywhere was quiet. People have moved. So what they do is they they attack churches, they attack these villages, they move, and then they take over the place. And there's also certain level of complicity when it comes to the military Because I don't understand how you could have a force and there is no serious investigation, not even just battling these extremists at the battlefield, but knowing the links and where this thing comes from. Because I'm telling you, all these guys that are doing this attack, they're just those at the lower end of the ladder. There are kingpins, there are individuals, there are real big leaders, politicians, maybe also foreign interesting organizations that are linked to all of these things happening. So again, I'm telling you, this falls right now on the table of Tinubu, and he is, to be the number one person held responsible for whatever is happening. Not Trump trying to put in a policy. No, you are the president. People voted for you. Okay.
All of that is happening, and it's happening on their watch. So whatever we can do as United States citizens to petition our government and to support this bill in Congress, and then move on the administration and the State Department to do the very necessary work of saying, look, it's time for you to stand up for your own people. It's time for you to protect Nigerians. So let's do our part, and hopefully the government there will respond and do.
Joining us now is Bernard Tattoon.
Okay, so that's it. Hopefully that is resolved. I mean, there's a lot of videos here, right? You see people being killed. You see these are international news. Look at it. These are international news. You can see that. Let me see if I can move this here. Okay, you see Christian genocide in Nigeria. Christians have been hunted and murdered.
African nation of Nigeria.
Okay, we've seen this one. The violence is relentless. Why are people talking about this now? Well, I guess it's time to talk about it, and that's what it is. I would hope that there can be a real solution to all of this, because if you're not careful, something that started as far as you have Borno and all of those places, now you're feeling that impact in where's it called again? In Kwara State. Kwara State is not one far stuff. It's just next door. It's next door to the southwestern states. And we've seen what happened at Owo, where you had 50 worshippers, Christian worshippers, go to church on a Sunday. And these extremists just went into the church and opened fire. Right now, if you have any of these churches in Nigeria, you need to start taking your security serious. You need to have people that are armed that could guard. You could have volunteers from your church members. Because that's the only way, to stop all this nonsense from happening. And I wish and I pray for those that have paid the ultimate price, lost their lives and loved ones. I pray that, they will find comfort in the Holy Spirit, because that's just the only thing. Because we know that that's the ultimate sacrifice. Just like Stephen the martyr, started being the first person killed for the sake of Christ. And Jesus already said, as Christians, they were going to suffer persecution that will be true to the word, that will be true to the gospel. One other thing also, that the churches in the South that live in affluence will open their hearts and mind and see the plight of their northern brothers and sisters and rise to their aid, either through pressuring the government, to trying to bring, intelligent approach to stop all these menace. And that's that about that. I'm going to move on right